Εδώ ραδιοφωνικός σταθμός Αθηνών, επιμεσαίων κυμάτων, συχνότητος 728 χιλιοκύκλων ανά δευτερόλεπτον ή μήκους 412 μέτρων.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Milton Experience, a podcast entirely devoid of novel ideas, a self-referential endless rant by a grandiose narrator who wallows in his own misery while dragging every last one of you down with him. You might already be asking yourself, whatever happened to Milton? Why does he sound like an obnoxious prick who went to Eton and then read classics at Balliol College in Oxford? Well, the reason is that the person speaking is not the Milton you've grown accustomed to. No, this is a counterfactual version whom I have baptized Sir Milton. He comes from a parallel universe of privilege, opulence, wealth and power, and shackled from the petty bourgeois life of Athens, Greece, during the golden years of Pasok. Unlike his unfortunate counterpart, Sir Milton thankfully did not end up as an IT monkey slaving away in some godforsaken provincial town in Germany. Instead, he spends his evenings in the leather armchairs of the Reform Club, draped in a burgundy smoking jacket, swirling a glass of absurdly expensive single malt, while an aging spaniel of impeccable pedigree snores at his feet. The air in his boudoir is thick with plumes of cigar smoke. The Times crossword, completed in ink naturally, lies folded on the side table. And from the corner, a trusty Hallicrafter's tube radio crackles gently with the BBC overseas service. Now, whence came this whimsical idea? The other day, I was listening to the soundtrack of The Guns of Navarone, that epic 1961 war film starring, among others, David Niven, Gregory Peck, and the great Irene Papas. The narration is delivered, of course, in that wonderfully rarefied, posh, theatrical accent of the era. And while listening to it, I mentally travelled back to my childhood, when I was learning English from cassette tapes, voiced by actors who sounded almost exactly like that. It was a simpler time, when refinement, intelligence, and erudition counted for something. Now contrast that with our present world, a world dominated by brute force, vulgarity, and insensitivity. A world awash in AI slop, in which Kanye West and Cappuccina Ballerina have displaced James Joyce and William Thackeray. Engulfed by nostalgia, I resolved to escape our grim reality. And hence Sir Milton was born, a portal to another parallel dimension. You might argue that such a world is pure anachronistic nonsense. Tube radios, gentlemen's clubs along Pall Mall. But let me stop you right there. Sir Milton transcends space and time. He keeps whatever he likes from each era, each culture, and each country, and refuses to compromise his tastes, his principles, or his prejudices. As the great Frank Sinatra himself once insisted, nothing but the best. Now, why pour all this reverie and escapism into a podcast? I confess, my motivations are mostly selfish. Sir Milton is for me what James Bond was for Ian Fleming, an alter ego who lets me vent, rant, and be the insufferable snob I have always yearned to be. Besides, I get to affect a completely ridiculous accent, and that alone justifies the exercise. The world of Sir Milton is not real. It's an artifice, a simulacrum, a fata morgana, and yet it might offer you something. A glimpse into the psyche of the arrogant, self-absorbed upper class, whose whims tastes, and dark desires shape the world in which we all live. Call it an educated guess, but sometimes an educated guess delivered in the right accent is all that it takes. How then will this unfold in practice? Well, this is where I solicit your aid, dear listener. Feel free to write in the comments and to bombard me with your most inspired and treasured ideas. The character of Sir Milton could do any number of things, from narrating audiobooks to reviewing films, gadgets, or travel locations. Sir Milton could conceivably even review old episodes of this very podcast, thereby achieving Euroboric levels of self-referential navel-gazing. So, old chap, knock yourself out, unleash your creativity, and I promise to take your suggestions into account. There is one thing, though, that I will not tolerate. Any insinuation that the voice of Sir Milton is a product of some despicable AI voice generator shall be met with fire and fury, and by very strongly worded letter from my solicitor. And on that note, I'm afraid I have to leave you. See, I'm expected at Savile Row for a fitting later today, after which I'm joining my friends Christos Zambounis and Prince Nikolaos of Greece for sherry and a game of whist. Toodle-pip!